I can hear all you Jet fans in full panic mode right now. Full panic mode for Jet fans all over the place. All right, everybody, Michael Cohen here with you, Sports Talk Nation. Let's talk about what's going on here with the Jets coaching search, which appeared, at least over since yesterday, it appeared that Robert Saleh was going to be a leading candidate, and you would have to imagine, at least by reports anyway, that he still is considered a leading candidate for the Jets job, but he has completed that interview. He flew from San Francisco all the way to New Jersey for a second interview yesterday. Spent a big part of the day last night, big part of the morning today, and then left without any kind of contract agreement in place, as far as we know, as far as reports say. The Jets released a tweet saying that they have completed our second interview with Robert Saleh for a head coaching vacancy. And of course, Jet fans, every Jet fan on the planet, their heads are exploding because for a lot of people, this is the guy that a lot of fans apparently want. Now, I'll say this about Robert Saleh now, and really about any of these coaches for that matter, especially the coordinators. We don't know, to be honest, we don't know who's going to be a great coach and who is not. Let's just be fair here, okay? I don't know if Robert Saleh is going to be one of the best coaches in the NFL at some point. He may very well be. I have no idea. Just like I don't know if Brian Daboll is going to be one of the best coaches in the NFL at some point, just like I don't know somebody like Eric Bieniemy is going to be one of the best coaches eventually in the NFL at some point. No one knows, but the fact is, what would have been nice would be nice for the Jets, whether they ended up hiring Saleh or somebody else. You want to see the Jets go out there and find their own guy. You know what I'm saying? And this has been discussed a lot by a lot of fans. Find someone that could become that big-time coach, someone who can be that CEO type, that leader, the one who can be the face of the entire franchise. You want that kind of person running your football team, running your team every single day, and of course, through game day. So here you have a guy, Saleh, who is very highly regarded, comes from the Pete Carroll tree, having been a quality control coach with the Seahawks, then moving on eventually to the Jaguars as a linebacker coach, and then over the last 4 years as the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. And their defense has been fantastic over the last few years. I mean, they've been a top 10 defense each of the last 3 years. Last year, they were second in total defense. This year, they were, fifth or sixth in total defense. So they have been one of the best units in football under his watch. And this is a guy who players love playing for. That's what we always keep hearing. Whether it be veteran guys like Richard Sherman, whether it be some of the young guys, they all seem to gravitate towards him. Yes, I understand he is we've all seen the videos of him jumping up and down on the sideline, encouraging guys. That's great. But the fact is, this is a guy who, from everything we've heard, is that leader CEO type. And it would have been very interesting to see, and it still could be very interesting to see if he would become the Jets head coach. But all the rumors were and speculation being that Saleh would bring in somebody like a Mike LaFleur, who is the passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, as his potential offensive coordinator. That's been discussed a lot. If they had hired Saleh, it would have been a very intriguing signing. It really would have been an intriguing signing because it's the kind of coach that the Jets don't always go after. You know, that kind of coach who is well thought of, highly regarded across the National Football League, and that's the case here with Robert Saleh. So that's why it would have been really a hire that would have gotten a lot of praise from a lot of circles around the NFL for that matter. So I really do feel the anxiety, the anger that a lot of Jet fans feel over the idea that you had Robert Saleh, who was considered a top candidate, in the building for a long period of time, last night into this afternoon, and he leaves without a contract. I can certainly understand the anxiety. As everyone knows, when you have a guy who is considered the top candidate, and from everything that we've read here, is that Saleh was considered a top candidate for the job, and he may still very well end up being that. If you have that guy in the building, you don't want to let him leave. And we've seen this by the Jets before, and I think this is really the one reason why a lot of fans right now are in panic mode at this very moment, because just 2 years ago, when they had Mike McCarthy, and they had Matt Rule, and they had Cliff Kingsbury in the building, all those guys ended up leaving the building without anything done. And of course, we all hear the stories about Matt Rule not having the ability to have any kind of say in his coaching staff, and all that stuff now creeps back into the minds of the Jet fans, saying, "What is this? What does this mean?" As Saleh, from what was last reported, I believe it was both Ian Rappaport and Av Schefter reporting that he was on his way to Philadelphia to interview for the Eagles job. So the Jets just keep on looking for another head coach. Whether it be, there's, of course, Arthur Smith has been speculated upon as being another candidate who will interview with a second interview, in-person interview for the job. Smith was the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans over the last number of years. You still have Brian Dable, Eric Bieniemy, even somebody like an Aaron Glenn, who was the Saints secondary coach. Those are all guys that could end up coming back at some point for second interviews, which is nothing unusual. Nothing unusual at all. I think what made this seem like it was going to happen was all the speculation and the fact that the amount of time that Saleh had spent at One Jet Drive with Team Brass, and I think that's what made a lot of people think that this could be happening at any moment. So from that standpoint, it is disappointing, and I feel bad for the Jet fan because you know what? I see all these Jet fans online. Everyone's excited. Everyone wants to see Saleh be the coach, and right now it doesn't look like that may happen with him leaving the building. So I feel bad for the Jet from that standpoint. You want to see Jet fans actually be happy about something for once. They haven't had a lot to smile about for some time. Now, again, if you want to be optimistic, you want to look at this glass half full, he could end up coming back. Maybe, possibly. Maybe he just wants to weigh different offers. But chances are, realistically, when you let that guy out of the building and he goes somewhere else, probably not going to come back. Just a guess on that point. So now the Jets coaching search continues. I still think, and I know a lot of people, a lot of you out there fear that Doug Peterson, the former Eagles head coach, could be a candidate. Certainly his relationship with Joe Douglas cannot be discounted at all. And I'm sure if he wants to coach, there's some discussion about whether he may or may not want to coach at all this year after going through a power struggle with the Eagles and Howie Roseman. If he wants to coach, he would certainly be a candidate in the mix for the Jets job. So the Jets search continues to spin around and around and around. And where will it stop? I don't know, and I'm terrified to find out where it will be, for that matter, just like all you out there. Divisional round coming up. Let's just take a quick look here at the games for this weekend, make some picks. Starting off with the games on Saturday, Rams against the Packers. Of course, the Rams coming up with that big upset victory over the Seattle Seahawks last weekend. Jared Goff coming off the bench with the thumb injury. The Rams play good defense, but I think it's going to be all Packers. They've had some rest here. They have been unbelievable on both sides of the ball, both offensively. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, an MVP candidate, and their defense has been very, very good for most of the season. I think the Packers take care of business and move on to the NFC Championship game. Then on the Saturday night game, very intriguing game, Ravens at the Bills. You know, it's been a fun year for the Bills this year. 13 wins, win the AFC East, win a playoff game, and let's just be honest, they were very lucky to win that playoff game last week against Indianapolis, as the Colts certainly had plenty of opportunities, like the 4th and goal where they decided to go for it instead of kicking a field goal. Didn't work out. The missed field goal, missed 2-point conversion, a lot of missed opportunities for the Colts. Bills escaped last week, and they go up against the Ravens, a team with a lot of playoff experience. Granted, it's going to be in Buffalo. I heard earlier that it could snow. Always a chance of that up there. But I just got a feeling that the Ravens are going to win this game. I think experience really matters, especially this time of the year. And the Ravens bring a running game and a stout defense. I think it could be a little bit tough for the Bills this time around. So I think the Ravens are going to win that game, move on to the AFC Championship. Who will they see between the Browns and the Chiefs? Boy, the Browns just stunned everybody with what they did against Pittsburgh, jumping out to that 28-0 lead. It was incredible. But this is a different kind of animal when you go up against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and company. I think the Chiefs will take care of the Browns. Will be close. I think it could be a close game for most of it. I think the Chiefs will pull away late second half, fourth quarter, but I think the Chiefs will win regardless. So you'll see the Chiefs move on. So it'll be Chiefs-Ravens in the AFC Championship. And then the battle of Brady versus Brees, two old guys approaching their mid-40s now. This is a tough one. You know, it's hard to bet against Tom Brady, especially when you consider it's the postseason. He almost never loses to the same opponent 3 times. It's very, very hard to bet against Tom Brady in this spot. At the same time, the Saints, I didn't like the way they played last week against Chicago. Then again, it was against Chicago. Do the Saints have a little bit of... The thing about the Saints is, do they ride this win one more for Drew thing on their... Do they ride that wave a little bit? So it sounds like that Drew Brees is going to possibly retire at the end of the season, whenever it ends. Boy, this is a tough game to call. It really is. I really could go either way. I'll take the Saints in a very, very close game. Again, I don't like betting against Tom Brady in any spot like this, especially like this. But I will take the Saints to win a very tight game at home. Probably by a field goal. It's only a 3-point spread as it is. So Saints, Packers, and Chiefs, Ravens will be your championship Sunday. That's our prediction. So anyway, there you go, folks. Remember, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/OpenMic Program, @OpenMicNJ on Twitter, and like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation.